Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Massive Darkness 2 Heavenfall, the campaign set. This is video number 2. We're going to go over all of the item cards and the ability upgrades for the heroes, as well as like mob items and campaign cards. Video 1, I did a very brief explanation of kind of what campaign mode is. Here's an even briefer one. It's just essentially it lets you play one quest in succession after each other. While you get to level up your characters between them, you gain less bonuses each quest, so that way you can advance slower over the course of many quests. But then you can eventually get to a lot higher level and gain a lot better rewards. So it basically creates a storyline, which is a campaign mode. Yeah, check out that if you want a little bit more description on some of that and some of the different changes in the game. As well as seeing all the different enemies. So this one we're just going to focus on item cards. So, along with the new higher level mobs, you have 6, 7, we have a bunch of mob items for 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 10. So we're going to hop into these. So all of your 6, 7 items are going to be epics. So we're going to have 3 copies of the precision bow. And because I have a lot to go through, I'm not going to read off all the different numbers for all of these. I'll pause it, hold on each one long enough for you to kind of read through them. I'm not going to read off all the different nice numbers. But first range attack gets you an extra orange die. We have 3 copies of a Soul Eater. One-handed, ranged attacks get to ignore a claw. 2 copies of Fire Chain. Attack. Move the defender 1 zone towards you. If you do, add them 2 fire to them. That's actually pretty fun. We have 2 copies of the Wand of the Dead. Pay a mana to heal 3. 2 copies of a Skull Axe. Ignore 1 slash. The defender suffers it instead of you. We have 1 copy for some reason of just a Heavy Hammer. Attack is +2 swords. We have 3 Angelic Blades. Attack, you and the closest other hero heal 1 damage. 2 Stone Knuckles. Attack, ignore 1 slash. And 2 copies of the Primeval Club. Attack, if you took at least 1 wound to this attack, deal 3 wounds to the defender. So some fun new mob items that they're going to get. Plus it's going to add in them red dice that the enemies can now use. Our 8 to 9s are going to get us 3 skeleton blades. Pay 1 mana to heal 3. We have 3 enchanted pikes. Deal 4 wounds to another enemy in the same or adjacent zone. 2 Demon Tridents. Attack, deal 2 wounds to the defender and heal 1. 2 Skull Scythe. Attack, each rolled mana may be used as an attack instead. That's 3 dice on it, too. 2 copies of the 4 Elements Wand. Add 1 mana, or pay 1 mana to add 1 Frost, add 1 Fire, and move the defender up to 1 zone. And ignore 1 damage. So it's like fire, water, air, and then I'm guessing earth is the ignore, like a defense. 3 copies of the Staff of Mana. Your attack, you get +2 mana. Be great for the wizard. 2 copies of the Angelic Spear. Ranged attack, spend 1 mana to ignore a black die. And 2 copies of the Devil's Bow. Shadow attack, ignore 2 Shadow Claws. And 1 copy of the Enhanced Precision Bow. First ranged attack of the turn, add 2 mana. It's fun looking at some of these because you can see like, ooh, they're going to have some powerful enemies to fight because they just have some good dice. But just seeing the skills that you could use for yourself is pretty cool. Alright, then the level 10, which are black, are all going to be legendary items. This is the new class type, so they're all white. So you have Immortal Sword, 2 copies. Attack, heal 3 per enemy miniature killed in this attack. 3 copies of a Tainted Sword. Defender has -2 defense. 2 copies of an Undead Sword. Attack, take 1 wound, get 1 extra yellow die. 1 Soul Diffuser. Take a wound, deal 3 wounds to the defender. 2 Death Axes. Attack, after combat, if a leader or roaming monster is in your zone at 5 or less health, kill it. That is definitely fun. Just finish them off. 2 copies of a Ritual Skull. When you kill an enemy with a magic attack, deal 5 wounds to another enemy in the dungeon. 2 copies of a Staff of Darkness. Spend 1 mana to gain an orange die. 1 Snake Eyes. Attack. 1 mana, move the defender up to 2 zones. I have to move these down so I'm running out of room. Heaven's Javelin. Attack, spend 2 mana. Either remove 1 frost from the defender to gain 5 defense, or add 1 frost. The Dragon's Crossbow, 1 copy of that. Ranged attack, add 2 fire to the defender. And 2 copies of the Devil's Firebow. Ranged attack, add 1 fire. Shadow attack, +5 damage if the target has 3 or more fire. So definitely fun there. Some interesting new mob items. And then, of course, we're going to get some regular items in here as well. So we're going to have some brand new epic treasures, which are purples. We're going to get 3 copies of some skull armor. Since we got so many mob items that are all weapons, they decided to throw some extra. The items that we're unlocking in here are armors and stuff like that, which is nice because you can always use more of those. So defense, ignore 1 black. We're going to have that green dice that's added in there. We have the 3 copies of the Iron Armor, which gets pay a mana for a reroll. And 2 copies of the Cloak of Shadows. Spend mana, you are in the shadows for this attack. Oh, which would be really nice with the rogue. Then we are going to get some legendary items. We got some white ones. We have 2 copies of an accessory. We have Snake Ring. Once per round, target 1 enemy in line of sight. If they attack another enemy, if possible, the attacker doesn't roll black dice or trigger abilities. 2 copies of Mind's Eye, another accessory. Anytime, once per round, swap one of your equipped items with any weapon equipped by an enemy mob leader. 2 copies of Moon Amulet. Anytime, once per round, swap the position of 2 enemies in the dungeon. 2 copies of Marvelous Spikes. Attack, pay 1 mana. Ignore the slashes the defender suffers it instead of you. Infinite. So you can use that as many times as you need to. 2 copies of Winged Boots. +1 move action. 2 copies of Elven Crown. Defense, choose 1, +3 mana, or +1 green die, or ignore 2 claws. 3 copies of Dragon Armor. Defense, you may use shield to block slashes, which are normally undefendable. And 3 copies of Sapphire Armor. After taking either fire or frost from an enemy, ability or effect, you may discard all fire or frost from yourself. So lots of epic level armors and accessories. You might be like, well, why don't we have weapons? Because all of the legendary treasures that are in the epic sets are your set items. So let's move these for a sec. So we're gonna get the Darkbringer sets, which we have 1 card for each character, and then the Hellfire set. So if you've seen the expansion packs unboxed, you've already seen some of these. So how these basically work is we have a Hellfire Paladin. And we've also seen these in the base game. We had the Lightbringer set. So now we have Hellfire and we have Frost. So we have a Fire and Ice one. So if you have 2 set items, you get the minor power. If you have 4 or more, you get the greater power. And then also if you have 2, you get the special Hell Flame. So the Hellfire Flame's ability for the fire set. So this bottom one will be the same for every Hellfire set. So it says resolve the fire at the end of your turn instead of the start of your turn. So you get to spend them quicker and get rid of them or do whatever you need to do. Alright, so then we have minor power for the Paladin. It's going to say discard 2 cards from yourself, 2 fire from yourself, add 1 fire to each enemy on a concentrated zone. And then its other one is discard 2, add 2 for each enemy on a concentrated zone. So basically it's going to gain more of that. The Ranger says after drawing arrow cards, discard 1 fire from yourself to add 1 arrow result per round. It says greater power after drawing arrow cards, discard any number of fire to add that many to yourself. So basically, either the greater or just bigger effects. Not all the time, but usually. The Shaman, so you can discard 2 fire to gain 2 fire elementals, or discard 2 to gain 3. The Berserker, discard 1 fire to heal, or to gain 1 rage and heal 2 from yourself, only once per round. And then the Greater lets you discard 1 to gain 2 rage and heal 3. The Rogue has discard 3 fire from yourself to draw 1 rogue token. And greater power. Red tokens also have 1 fire on attacks. Discard 3 to draw 1 rogue token. So the effects stay the same, but just added onto it. And then finally we have the Wizard. Rotate the ready marker on the next quadrant. Or discard 2, rotate the ready marker on the next quadrant, deal 3 wounds to 1 enemy in magic range. Alright. Then we're going to look at the Darkbringer set quick. So it is listed as, looks like ice, but it's frost, but it's also dark as well. So the Darkbringer shadow ability on the bottom says, now if you roll the, so basically this is how theirs all work. Theirs works a little bit differently. So the minor power says, Darkbringer's shadow ability may be triggered instead of the regular hero's shadow ability. With the greater power, it says you may trigger it in addition. So all their minor and greater are the same. So on the minor they can use the other one instead. On greater they can use both. So Darkbringer's shadow for the Paladin is add 1 frost and deal 3 wounds to each enemy in each concentrated zone. The Ranger is apply the bonus effect of +1 of one of the revealed arrows. If you hit perfect, the effect is applied a second time. The Shaman says after this combat, you may use 1 ability that has an elemental cost for free. The Berserker, you may take up to 3 wounds, plus 2 to the swords for each wound taken this way. The Rogue, draw 2 rogue tokens and gain a bonus according to their color. Red, gain the token's combat bonus or 1 red die. Blue or green, ignore 1 defense die. You may discard this or return. You may discard or return to the bag each token drawn this way. So if you don't really want it, it's kind of nice. And then finally the Wizard, Defender gains -1 defense for each mana you have. So there are different sets. Now let's look at the actual set items. So we have the epic versions, which are kind of like the help generic stuff. So we have the Magma Greaves for the Hellfire set. Defense, take 1 fire, gain 1 green die. So this is where you're going to gain your fire tokens for those abilities. 2 Ignition Helms. Attack, take 1. Fire Defender takes 2. Flames. Then we have legendary items. So we're going to have the 2 copies of the Blazing Gauntlets. Attack, take 1 fire, plus 1 orange die, and the Lava Armor. Action, transfer all your fire to 1 enemy in your zone. Then each class with your own specific weapon. So the Wizard has the Wizard's Fiery Scroll. When resolving fire on an enemy in a dungeon, use orange instead. Attack 1 mana to add 1 fire. The Paladins Searing Mace. Attack, take 1 fire, add 1 fire for each hero on consecrated zones. Shaman's Flare Amulet. Can be equipped to an accessory or a hand slot, even if holding 2-handed item. 2 fire and earth. Add 1 fire and resolve all fire on 1 enemy in magic range using red instead. The Ranger's Conflagration Bow. Ranged attacks add +1 fire on a perfect. Resolve all fire on the defender. Berserker's Magma Sword. Attacks rage, add 2 fire. Attack +5 if the defender has 5 or more fire. And then finally, Rogue's Fire Blowgun. Ranged attack, spend 1 mana to add 1 fire, ignore 1 defense for each fire on the defender. It's definitely fun. You add them things and you just spend them. Then we have the epic Darkbringer stuff. We have the Shadow Greaves. Move. If you begin in a Shadow Zone, gain 2 movement points, ignore reaction damage for this movement. And the Doom Helm, 2 copies. Shadow attack, double the amount of attack from the Shadow Dice. Then the epic versions is we have the Dark Gauntlets, which is an accessory. Shadow attack, spend 1 mana to do 2 rerolls. And Sinister Armor. Ignore up to 2 claws and gain that much mana. Then each individual person's item, we have the Paladin's Dreadful Hammer. Shadow attack, 1 mana. Ignore 1 defense dice. Shaman's Twilight Amulet can be equipped to accessory or hand slot. Shadow attack, spend 1 wind and 1 water to gain 3 swords. The Ranger's Ghastly Crossbow. Attack if 1 hand is empty, gain 2 reroll plus 2 red die. Berserker's Dust Axes. Attack using ranged dice instead of melee in melee attacks. That's freaking crazy that the Berserker gets a one-handed ranged weapon. The Rogue's Gloom Knives. Shadow attack when attacking, non-red tokens gain 2 rerolls. And then the Wizard's Arcane Bracer. You may discard mana instead of health. So those are their fun set items you can try and collect. So that gives you 3 different sets if you buy the full, this along with the original campaign. Alright. So then the next thing we want to look at are campaign cards. So every campaign card is going to have a number on it. So 1 through 30. Now they're not necessarily unlocked in 1, 2, 3, 4, like in that direction. There'll be certain things that will give way. So spoilers ahead. I already showed off him, but there will be spoilers for different things you can unlock throughout the campaign. So if you don't want to know what these are, skip to the end, skip later in the video, and we'll look at the upgraded character cards. Just fast forward through these a bit. I'll hold up the ability cards first, but yeah, so these are just cards you unlock doing side quests or various things. It might be like, if you did this, like the first mission I think was like, if you cleared all the zones, you draw card number 8. So they kind of go in order how they did them. I don't know why it wasn't just set, like, quest 1 unlock card 1, quest 2 unlock card 2, but that's alright. So here we can get Guile the Tavern Keep, which we saw the token for. We'll add ally into our game, which we can use movement points and do some other stuff. So other heroes in his zone gain +1 attack. We can get a redeemed Angel Leader to help us out. Other heroes in Magic Rain gain defense +1 blue die. These are really fun. We can get upgrades to the town. We can get Gambling Alley. For 6, now you can draw 2 treasures from the treasure bag and choose 1. Since it's a little less risky. You can get the Herbalist, which lets you spend 1 instead of 2 to gain 1 health or mana potion. And then these you just place on the board to replace those. We have the Darkbringer's Presence. Well, you have the Darkbringer Greater Power. All zones in your tile may be considered Shadow Zones. Hellfire Presence. Well, you have Hellfire Greater Power. All heroes and enemies in your tile roll 1 orange or 1 red instead of 1 yellow for each fire. Lifebringer Presence, which is a special effect. At the start of the quest, with 1 extra Lifebringer token, all heroes gain combat reroll. A certain 1 matter reroll. You can get some items in here, such as a Pendant of Health. She put 2 of these tokens on there. And now you can spend 1 to ignore 1 wound. Now, they run out during a campaign, during a quest, you can't use this item anymore, but at the beginning of the next quest, they refresh. So you don't necessarily want to sell it just because it ran out. Synergy Enchantment. Heroes in your zone gain 1 combat reroll. Portal Manipulation. The Summoner gains action. Each enemy in a portal zone takes 2 fire. So Summoner is an ally we haven't uncovered yet, which is why I said I don't get why they didn't put these in order. It's kind of weird. Hellsbane Amulet. Shadow attacks. Defender takes 1 fire. It's kind of neat because it mixes the Hellfire and the Darkbringer set together. We have a Cursed Sword Mastery. Well, you have the Cursed Sword equipped. You gain the following effects according to your level. Effects are cumulative. So at 1, 5, and 8, you get spend a mana for a reroll, 2 attack, and 1 fire. So again, I don't get why they didn't put these in there in order. We have Monster Slayer Combat. If the enemies are only monster, ignore all black dice. Michael's Feather, a consumable item. Spend 2 to combat, spend 1 to ignore 1 die roll. We got a legendary Angelic Armor. Move plus 2 MP. If you saw the video for the Kickstarter, or the crossover set with Master of Darkness 1, there's a campaign set for that as well. Cards, and you got the King's Armor and the Knight's Armor, I believe, and now here you can get the Angelic set. Well, we have Hellrider Attack, take 1 fire, plus 1 for each fire on you. Here's our Summoner that was mentioned before. He has 5 health, 2 defense, and 1 magic range. Attack, each mana roll counts as 1 sword. We can get a special skill that's a half demon. When you roll a shadow, you must also deal 3 wounds to the defender and take 1 wound. Or we have the other half demon. You roll 1, you must also take 1 wound. Must make a lesser half demon. Here's our Cursed Sword. Defender gets -1 defense. Teleport Goggles. Move 1, pay a mana, you do not take reaction damage. We have the Inventor. Now has, so instead of his normal 81, you can now spend 63 to search for any treasure except legendary, and then spend the 81 to just search for the legendary. So 63 would put it a little bit better than drawing a legendary, because a legendary item would have been 54, but it's still not bad. Yeah, just extra upgrades that are kind of cool. Michael's Blessing. Each hero has max 1 health, max 1 mana. Redeemed Michael, 10 health. Combat against bosses, ignore all black dice. Action, move up to 2 zones and attack if possible. Orb of Souls. You know, spend 1 to kill 1 defending minion. These soul keys, you can spend 1 to add 1 frost to the attacker. Then we're going to get some items here. We have Reaper's Scythe. Spend 1 to ignore all black dice. The Angelic Halo. When Balebirth rolls its activation dice, it takes a wound for each claw rolled. The Profane Sword. This weapon also counts as magic and range. And the Sacred Sword. This weapon also counts as magic and range. Light attack, +5 sword. Definitely cool there. Alright, so we just finished going through all the campaign cards. I was going to continue and go through all the character abilities, but I feel it's going to take too long. This video's already gone long, so we'll do that in part 3. So if you want to see just all the brand new character skills, because there's quite a few of them, check out part 3. Hope to see you guys in the video. Bye.